Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Richela. This week's theme is flowers, and we're going to talk about Mexican paper flowers. But before we get started, I need you to give me 5. Number 1, legs are crossed. Number 2, hands are still. Number 3, ears are listening. Number 4, eyes are watching. And number 5, we're going to zip it, lock it, and put it in our pocket. So let's try to remember some of the things that we've talked about in the past weeks. I guess we can say that we've talked a lot about geography, where we live and where some of us have traveled to. We know that we live in Rye or the surrounding areas like Harrison or Portchester. We know that Rye is in the state of New York, which is in the United States. We know where Spain is, which is across the Atlantic Ocean, where the flower-smelling, peace-loving Bull Ferdinand from the book Ferdinand lives. We know where China is, where they celebrate Lunar New Year. We know where Brazil is, where they celebrate Carnival and love football, and where the Summer Olympics were held 4 years ago. We know where India is, where they celebrate Holi Festival. We know where Russia is, where the candy-colored towers of St. Basil's Cathedral are, and where the tale of Baba Yaga is told to children. And now we will head back to North America and Mexico, the country to the south of the U.S. Today is Cinco de Mayo, a holiday that recognizes and celebrates the heritage, heroism, and strength of the Mexican people. Cinco de Mayo means May the 5th in Spanish. Cinco de Mayo is largely a celebration of Mexican culture in the United States. It is not a national holiday in Mexico, but it does commemorate the unlikely victory of the Mexican army against the French army in 1862. That's almost 160 years ago. And because the United States is a melting pot of different cultures, Cinco de Mayo became an official U.S. holiday in 2005. It is celebrated with festivals and parties all over the country, the largest one being in Los Angeles, California, where there is a large Mexican-American population. To celebrate Cinco de Mayo, we will learn about the popular craft of Mexican paper flowers. There's a long tradition in Mexico of constructing things, such as flowers, out of colored tissue paper. Paper crafting made its way from Asia to Mexico through the trading ships that would travel from the Philippines to Acapulco, Mexico. These trading ships brought tissue paper. There are specific flowers that have significance in Mexico. The dahlia is native to Mexico. In 1963, it was proclaimed the national flower of Mexico. Paper dahlias are widely used as decoration flowers for houses and parties. Cempasúchil is the Mexican marigold and flower of the dead. The name means 20 flowers and was the flower the Aztecs used to adorn their tombs. Today, during the Day of the Dead celebrations, natural and paper cempasúchil are used all around Mexico to decorate altars and tombstones. The rose is probably one of the most popular flowers around the globe, often symbolizing love and grace. Roses have a significant place in Mexican religious traditions. Paper rose bouquets are used to decorate houses and as ornaments in parties and celebrations. Girasol, or sunflowers, were significant to the Aztecs, as it was related to the sun and war. In Mexico, they are still used in healing practices. Natural and paper sunflowers are widely used as decorative flowers. They add warmth and joy to any place and have inspired many artists around the world. Noche Buena, known in the U.S. as poinsettia, is a plant native to central Mexico. When the Spaniards arrived to the area and saw the plants flowering in December, they called it Noche Buena, which is the Spanish name for Christmas Eve. Paper poinsettias are used during Christmas not only as bouquets, but to make decorated Christmas crowns and other ornaments. So now that we know a little bit about Mexican paper flowers, let's make our own. And since you may not have any tissue paper around your home, we are going to use 3 different types of everyday materials. The first one is wrapping paper, and you're going to need a dinner-size paper plate. On the unprinted side of the wrapping paper, trace the paper plate using a ballpoint pen. Use scissors to carefully cut out the circle. Color in the unprinted side using markers or crayons. Fold the circle in half, then fold it in half again, and then fold it in half one more time to get a wedge shape. Then you're going to use scissors to round the top corners and make an ice cream cone shape. Pinch the bottom of the ice cream cone and then roll a small piece of masking tape around it. Carefully unfold the ice cream cone. The first unfolding reveals a heart shape. The second unfolding reveals a 4-leaf clover. The final unfolding will reveal an 8-petal flower. Now we are going to follow the same steps, except use newspaper. I found this pretty perfume ad that I thought would make a nice sunflower. It's folded, so there are actually 2 layers. After I trace the paper plate on top of the first layer, I make sure to cut through both layers when cutting out my circle. Then fold both circles in half, then fold it again in half, and then fold it one more time in half to get a wedge shape. Use the scissors to round the top corners and make an ice cream cone shape. Pinch the bottom of the ice cream cone and then roll a small piece of masking tape around it. Then carefully unfold the ice cream cone to reveal a heart shape, and then a 4-leaf clover, and then finally an 8-petal flower. Then pull the 2 layers of the flower apart. The third material is a coffee filter. Color in one side using markers. Spray water thoroughly on top and blot the excess water using a paper towel or rag. You will see the colors bleed and mix. Place the coffee filter somewhere warm to dry for about 15 minutes. Fold the dry coffee filter in half, then fold it in half again, and then fold it in half one more time to get a wedge shape. Pinch the bottom of the ice cream cone and then roll a small piece of masking tape around it. Then you are going to use scissors to round the top corners and make an ice cream cone shape. Carefully unfold the ice cream cone to reveal a heart shape, then a 4-leaf clover, and then finally an 8-petal flower. And there you have it, paper flowers using 3 different everyday materials. How'd they come out? Well, I hope you had fun, and I will see you next time. Bye!